What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and I have a confession to make. I watched all the way through the rest of season 2 of Arrow before doing this review. Now, to those of you that are watching this and have not seen my other reviews of Arrow, I've been trying to do kind of how the show works. They normally go 9 episodes in the first half of the season, and then a mid-season finale. And then after the break, they come back, do 7, have like a 2-week break, and then come back with the final 7. And so for the first season, I did that. I did 9, 7, and 7, because it works out pretty well. But I got up to the 7th episode in the second part of the 3, and was having to do some like house cleaning. I know this sounds really weird, but my family is not very good at cleaning, so we're just now getting our Christmas stuff down, including the tree. And so I just turned it on to have something to watch while I was cleaning, and finished the 7th episode of the second part of this 3-part season, and didn't have time to do a review, so just kept watching and finally finished the season. But I am going to try to capture my initial reaction before what happens in the rest of the season, because that does alter my feelings a bit. And I also have kind of a little cheat sheet right here just to look at, because there are a couple things I do want to talk about. Still really enjoying the show, but they're making so many weird or dumb decisions that in the moment just make me, they really are dumb. Like everything going on with Laurel in the second part of the season, which, if you are paying attention, is from episode 10 down to 16, so that's 7 episodes. But starting off in episode 10, which is Blast Radius, you've got everything going on with Brother Blood. He's like going through his campaign. You've got this guy setting off bombs. Just really, you can tell he's targeting like a lot of people that are important, I guess. And so this is kind of where the tone of the season starts to take a little bit of a change, because Laurel up until now has been struggling, but it hasn't been like, it's been frustrating to see her. And I talked about in the first half of the season how she was really annoying, and it was weird because her and her dad actually switched spots. In the first season, her dad was really annoying and trying to hunt down the vigilante, and vigilante is wrong. And in the first half of this season, the roles were switched. Now, Laurel is the one trying to hunt down the vigilante, and the vigilante is wrong. And her dad is actually the one trusting him and working with him, and he even loses his badge because of it. So it was weird how they switched, but this is where Laurel starts to take a little bit of a turn from being annoying to being, I want to punch her in the face, frustrating. I'm not sure if it was this episode in particular. I think it actually starts after Blind Spot, which is the 11th episode, and that's the one where she starts to discover all this stuff about Brother Blood, talks to his mother, finds out exactly what he's doing, and then when nobody believes her because she's been taking pills because she's an idiot, like from then on, she just starts to completely lose the plot. Like, she's mad at everybody except for herself. Like, she blames everybody else besides herself, and it just got so frustrating, and I wanted to punch her in the face because of it. But yeah, just really annoying. Can't say much else about that. But at the beginning of Suicide Squad, I think, which is the last episode in the second part of the season, things do start to get a bit better with her. Like, she starts to forgive Sarah. But anyway, I'll get to that a little bit later. Detective Lance, like I said, he really starts to take a turn this season at the beginning of the season, and now you start to see more of it, like just helping Oliver out whenever he needs it. Doesn't want to know who he is, just he's okay helping him out. and finding out that Sarah's still alive kind of helps him to cope with the fact that he can help it. He can help the Arrow, especially because she's working with the Arrow, and so you start to see a bit more of that going on. I think, yeah, Tremors is okay. I'm gonna go what I like about each of these episodes because there are things that I do like. Blast Radius, I like the fact that just like first of all the villain was kind of dull, but it was interesting what his plan was. Like you could tell he was not just a guy that blew up stuff. Like he actually had a good plan behind him. So even though he was just a little bit, oh yeah, he just blows up stuff. He wasn't stupid. You know, like when Arrow got trapped in a shop, I was just like, dude, this guy's actually a thinker. Like he is good. Blind Spot, like I said, the one where Laurel finds out about Brother Blood. Love that episode. Really hated though the fact that in the end, just because the cop had the mask on, they just dropped it. They were just like, oh, okay, since he had the mask on, I mean, the real guy wearing the mask would not be dumb enough to let somebody else wear his mask. I mean, that would just be stupid. So obviously this guy's definitely the guy in the mask. So I was really disappointed that they just dropped it so quickly, just because they happened to find out that the cop was wearing the mask. Tremors is the one where Roy is like trying to get trained by Oliver. Yes. This is the one that got me. I was so back and forth, and even going into the next part of the season, I'll talk about it a bit more. I'm so back and forth on Roy in this episode because at times I'm just like, yeah, okay, try to train him, you know, be nice, I understand it, you know, I get it, you don't want to kill, you want to try to help him work through his rage, but at other times I'm just like, he can't, like, you just look at him, he's losing his mind, like, really, and so, even the way it ends is still kind of like a, you know, he still doesn't have control, even though he kind of does, because Oliver reveals who he is, and you know, you need to save my sister, all that. He still doesn't have control, and you can just tell it was just so open for so many more problems in the future. Heir to the Demon, that's the one where Sarah finally comes back, because Nyssa and the League of Assassins have, like, they shot Laurel with like a poison dart to draw her back into town, and you find out that Nyssa is actually Ra's al Ghul's daughter, which I thought her name was supposed to be Talia, but anyway, maybe that's just Batman. But then you find out that she actually had a relationship with Sarah, and so it wasn't just her trying to get Sarah to come back to the League of Assassins, it was her trying to get her to come back to her. Couple of things I really did enjoy about this episode is that one, I liked his Sarah's dad's response, Detective Lance's response, whenever he finds out that Sarah was in a relationship with another woman. He's like, you could just tell when he first finds out, he's like, wait, what? But then he has a nice response. He's like, you know, you went through hell. I'm just glad you had somebody that cared about you. Which is, that's a good way to think about it from a father's point of view, even if you don't really understand what even if you don't understand that, to think about it that way, that's a good way to think about it from his point of view. But once again, Laurel is really the standout bad thing about this episode, because Sarah comes back and Laurel's just blaming her for everything, and not even just the simple stuff. It's got to be everything. Like, she blames her for... No, actually, that may happen in the next episode. I think I think this was the episode where when she at first sees Sarah, like she's happy about it, like 'cause she thinks she just hallucinated or something, and she's happy about it. And I think at the end of the episode, she finally sees that Sarah really is there, and then she gets really pissed. I'm like, wait a second, you were just happy, like that? What? Um, what I'm thinking about may actually be in the next episode. Um, excuse me. Uh, but I'm getting some of the episodes like mixed together. But whether or not, I mean, the next episode is pretty much similar stuff. The Promise. No, I mean, sorry. Time of Death, which is the one where Sarah finally becomes a part of the team, and the Clock King, I think his name was, really fun episode because he was just, I don't know, he was such a good villain for me. I don't know why, but I really enjoy watching villains who have that type of plan in place. If that makes sense. Like I love heist movies, and the way that he had his plan set out felt like a heist movie because he's like, he has everything planned down to the exact second. He's like, all right, stop there and wait for 5 seconds. And the guys don't wait for 5 seconds, and they walk out in the hallway, and there's a cop walking right there. So to see he has everything planned down to the exact second, I just love crimes like that. I don't know why. The heist movies kind of have that sort of element to it, so I enjoyed it. But either way, there was more of Laurel in this episode. Frustrated Sarah, frustrated Oliver, just blaming everybody. And like I said, just really frustrated me that, I don't know, I just don't like the turn her character took this season. But another thing about this episode that just kind of stood out to me, they did one of those cliche things where at the beginning they're all showing off their scars and stuff, and Felicity feels left out because she doesn't have a scar, and she names she got her wisdom teeth taken out, trying to fit in with everybody. And then later on, seeing Oliver and Sarah together, you can see she's having a hard time. I'm like, really? Why are we still doing this dumb storyline? And Diggle starts to talk to her about it. And then she kind of says, no, it's not about her and Oliver being together. It's just I feel like I'm left out. Everybody else has their scars, and Sarah can do all the stuff I can do, and I'm supposed to be good at this stuff, and I'm not good. That was a better turn on it. And then at the end, they have her get shot so she can have a scar of her own. I'm like, really? You didn't have to do that. You could have just had her stepping in to do her job well, and that could have been the resolve. She finally steps in and solves the problem. But no, you have to have her get shot in the shoulder so she can be like, I have a scar too, now I fit. I'm like, it's such a cliche, and it's the stuff of kids shows, really. Except, obviously getting shot doesn't normally happen in kids shows, but when you think about that premise of everybody's talking about their special ability, and the one person that doesn't fit in with everybody else doesn't have a special ability, by the end of the episode, they're going to find out they do have a special ability. That's kids show stuff. And that's exactly what happened. Everybody else had their scars. I have a bullet wound. Oh, I have grenade wounds. I have knives and arrow wounds. I don't have any wounds. By the end of the episode, hey, I've got my own wound right here. I fit in now. I wanted to slap somebody. I almost slapped myself, but then I realized, wait, the show wants me to slap myself, so I can't let it do that. It's mind games. You see what I'm trying to say. Then next is The Promise, and that definitely stood out to me as one of the better episodes because, one, Slade and Oliver finally meet, because we'd seen him before, and you could tell by the way Oliver talked about him that he thought Slade was dead. So when he finally sees him, it's like that realization that he's back, he's not dead. And not fully understanding what happened between them in the end was very well done. We don't know exactly the whole story until the very end of this season. Um, and that was like I like that because we can assume what happened, but until we actually see it, it's all just speculation. Like, oh, I bet that this and this happened, and that's why Slade still hates him so much. Well, you may have been close. You'll find out later. Um, but they did that very well. But it's just really good episode because first of all you got Slade who's there, but then at the end like all of the team shows up and it's just like you could just tell by the look on Slade's face that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted to put himself in that position to see exactly who Oliver had helping him. And, John Diggle, Felicity, Sarah, Roy, all of them show up, and you can just see by the look on Slade's face, like he has the upper hand now. He knows exactly what he's dealing with, and he puts the cameras up too, and that was just another genius move. Um, so just really really good episode, and not much else I can say about that. Definitely the standout episode of the second part of the season. And then there was the Suicide Squad, and put my phone away now because that was the last episode of the second part. It wasn't bad, but there are some main problems that I have with it. One, I've talked about this before, the fact that these DC shows and movies are not all connected. I mean, you think about, you got Gotham, which is like a prequel to anything that's happening right now because it's pre-Batman. You've got Supergirl, which is, it's on CBS. The tone is extremely cheery, so it's nothing like any of the other DC shows. Then you've got the movies, which are starting to, you had the Dark Knight trilogy, which now completely non-canon, and you've got these new movies coming out that are kind of tying together with the whole Justice League. And then you've got the set of 3 shows on the CW, Arrow, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. And it's just, none of them connect. Like, you have those 4 sects, and that's it. And you think about Marvel, all of their shows connect together. You've got Daredevil and Jessica Jones, which don't really connect to anything yet, but you can see they're in Daredevil, all the stuff that's happening, you can see some of the aftermath of what happened in the Avengers. Jessica Jones, you can kind of see where street crime is kind of building itself up because, the superheroes are focusing on world-ending stuff. They're not focusing on street-level stuff. Well, Jessica Jones and Daredevil are 2 of the heroes, just heroes, stepping up and doing something about it. And those 2 are connected to the main universe, but also connected together. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's like a glue that holds all the movies together. I shouldn't say glue, because you can watch the movies without Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but if you watch it with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all of it connects together, and you can kind of see what's been going on behind the scenes, behind the scenes of the Marvel Universe, with S.H.I.E.L.D. and all of these superpowered people. And, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. led into the beginning scene of the Avengers Age of Ultron, so stuff like that happens. And Agent Carter, set back in time, and it looks like this second season is connecting to what's going on right now in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so I know I just went on a little rant, but that's my main problem with this episode, is that I look at this Suicide Squad, and then I look at the Suicide Squad movie, and I'm just like, this is why you can't not connect stuff. Because, honestly, I'm looking at that, and okay, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, brilliant. The what's his name? I can't remember his name now. Oh, Jared Leto as the Joker, brilliant. Will Smith as Deadshot. I prefer the Deadshot in the show better. but I haven't seen Will Smith yet. When I picture Deadshot, I picture this guy. So we'll see how Will Smith does, but I'm sure he'll do okay. Um, and Killer Croc looks great, Enchantress looks great, Jai Courtney, we'll see. But then I look at this, and this isn't the Suicide Squad. This was Deadshot, Bronze Tiger, and Shrapnel, who appeared, all three that have appeared on the show before. And the worst part is, they had Harley Quinn in a jail cell, and had her say like one line. It's like, you couldn't even find somebody to play her? That would have made it so much better. But anyway, like I said, my main problem is that we have this. They call them the Suicide Squad. I'm like, no. That's not the Suicide Squad. It was like three guys that were expendable, and then Diggle leading the team. I'm like, this is dumb. Aside from that, you could tell that out of the three that they picked, Shrapnel was the one that was just like the most meaningless, and so when he instantly dies, it's pretty much just to show that Amanda Waller put bombs in their heads, and if they try to go off script, that's what happens. That's the only reason he was even in this episode, was so that he could go off mission and die because of it. So we could be informed of that. They couldn't just tell us. They couldn't have one guy thinking about running and just be like, you might not want to do that because there are bombs inside your head. No, they had to have an expendable guy in the team that I hardly even knew because he was only in one episode. And then just have him run away and then blow up. Aside from that, though, it was okay. The mission itself was interesting enough, but it didn't feel warranted to get all of these like bad guys out of prison to try to find this stuff, this neurotoxin, I guess. I don't know. It just didn't seem like a world-ending crisis that needs you to release all of these evil people out into the world to try to stop it. But I mean, we got to learn more about Diggle and Lila and their past, so it was nice. And meanwhile, in the city, you have more of Oliver kind of going crazy because Slade is just tormenting him, which was fun. But overall, just kind of disappointed with that episode just because we have a much better looking Suicide Squad coming around the corner. Maybe, of course, this was back in like, I think 2014. I just closed up my phone. I shouldn't have done it. Yeah. So this was 2014. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Suicide Squad movie wasn't even talked about in 2014. Maybe it was. Okay, I take that back. It probably was. But anyway, so we didn't really know exactly what Suicide Squad movie was going to be. And so having this may have not have been such a big deal back then. But looking back now, watching it now, I'm just like, yeah, why'd you have to waste Suicide Squad there? It just, I don't know. It's frustrating. And then also having Diggle kind of like start to respect Deadshot more. I'm like, but he's a bad guy. Why are you trying to give him a redeemable story? Like, Deadshot is not somebody with a redeemable story. That's like trying to give the Joker a redeemable story. That's a no-no. You don't give the Joker a redeemable story. You don't give Deadshot a redeemable story. Stop that now. And that does come back into play later, but I'll get to that when I get to that. But overall, second part of the season, really, really interesting. Mainly a lot of build-up, kind of leading to what the third part of the season is going to be. And it was, even though I did have my problems with it, like I have with pretty much the rest of the show, those problems are kind of covered up by the fact that, one, the action is really well done. Every time, every single episode, there's good action in it. and two, the fact that the plot is very good. All of it just ties in so well together, and they've done such a good job of just, giving me a plot that interests me and does not make me go, oh, well, this is dumb. That's a dumb turn to take or something like that. I've seen shows do that before that just have the bad guy plot just be completely stupid and asinine that you're just like, what? This one is very interesting and very engaging, and you want to know what's going to happen next. You want to know what Slade's game plan is and what Oliver's going to do to try to stop it. But yeah, very, very interesting. And if I hadn't already watched the third part of the season, I would say very excited for the third part of the season. But I was very excited, and I will get to the third part of the season in the next review. So until then, let me know down in the comments below what you thought of these 7 episodes, and leave a like and subscribe for more Arrow content. Yeah, see you at the next review. Peace out.